think a lot of people are drawn to horror, and Sideshow is no exception.
It brings with it an energy that's just unlike anything else.
It really taps into a lot of deep-seated fears in our imaginations.
Sideshow's roots start in horror. Bernie Wright's and Frankenstein.
First product ever, which is still in our office to this day.
It was a diorama that was based off of Bernie Wrightson's famous Frankenstein illustrated book.
What a cool way to kick off one of Sideshow's earliest pieces ever. And then from there, we got the Universal license, which was massive.
The first products we made were called Little Big Heads, and they were in blister packaging on a backboard. You could find them in the toy aisle.
It was a very mass-driven kind of product line at that time.
With each evolution, we got a little bigger, a little more premium, and a little more detailed.
It was the days of Sideshow toy.
Having Universal, you just have classic characters.
Frankenstein, Wolfman, Preacher, the Mummy.
Hitting the pantheon of all the characters from Universal.
Some of the best cinematic monsters of all time.
I think as artists, we want to create something really special. I think that ultimately leads to premium formats.
Now we're doing full cut and sew, soft bodies that were posable, environmental bases. We were really exploring and kind of testing the waters to see what we could do and where we could take it and what the fans were willing to collect.
That's when we really evolved from Sideshow Toy to Sideshow Collectibles.
Really a big focus on the collectible aspect. Quality, likeness accuracy, things that had considerably more scope.
We followed that into more contemporary horror, like Freddy, Jason,
Leatherface,
Chucky, and so on and so forth. You got a little part of the movie in your house or in your collection.
At the intersection of that, as you're trying to very faithfully replicate the source material, where does that road lead you? To the source material.
Stan Winston is the master of special effects. He's worked on some of the biggest blockbusters in the world, Jurassic Park, Terminator, Aliens. And those monsters, those creations were things, a lot of it had inspired most of us here, not only love horror, but really, really, really appreciate the amount of work and effort and magic that goes into creating these monsters on screen.
The studio that actually made them for the movie. That direct connection of authenticity that you couldn't get anywhere else.
Stan Winston was truly a legend in the special effects industry, and his genius extended to his team, who, after his passing, formed the company Legacy Effects. We've partnered with them on multiple projects. It was just an incredibly meaningful, creative partnership, in addition to one that was very successful.
We were working with the artists that created the actual pieces. They knew the paint scheme. A lot of times they had the molds, they were scanning pieces.
You can't really get any better or any closer without actually being the movie prop.
Sideshow's love affair with horror is never-ending. We continue to experiment with new formats, new compositions, new technologies, and revisiting some of those classic favorites.
We went from movie accurate to artistic interpretation.
We're really idealizing the character.
You express so much through the horror pantheons, both cinematic and original. I think that sort of speaks to the studio's identity. At one point, Freddy, Jason, Frankenstein, all these things were original ideas. Can we transfer that into our own original imaginative takes and capture people's imaginations that way?
Our love and our roots in horror fueled that prerogative as a whole.
There's always room to explore, room to reinterpret.
Some of that adventure is to kind of close the loop back to where we started.